Hi everyone, welcome back to another installment in our expert guide walkthrough through Path of Exile. So last time we left off, we were in the process of taking care of these bandits in the forest. Um, so far, we've gotten rid of Oak up in the Broken Bridge, so we're going to head back to the Western Forest. There's a couple things we need to do down here. Our cleave is still working well. So we're going to follow this road until we see an old broken road, so some stonework heading out to either the left or the right. And here it is. You can kind of see this old road. Whoop. We shall follow it, try and stay on the stones, and that will bring you to the camp of one of the other bandit leaders, who is actually a very frightening witch. These guys explode themselves. Alright, so here she is. Her name's Alira. And, she's a decent person, but you may or may not want to side with her. So, see, if you kill all the others except for her, she gives you 20% critical strike multiplier, plus 15 to all resistances, and some mana regeneration. So a lot of times this is a good choice. Some builds do take this, from what I understand. We're going to keep things simple and kill all the bandit leaders so that we get 2 extra passive points as our reward instead of any of these. So let's go with the kill and out. Okay, here we go. I'm going to switch to blood stance on my flesh and stone. Keep our mana up. She's about half dead. Leap slam out of some of that bad stuff that she put on the ground. Now in this game, it's not always easy to see what's going on. It's going to get much less clear in the late game with a lot of particle effects. But we took her down, so we're going to take the amulet that she dropped and these 2 rare swords, level up some gems. All right. So that's 2 of the 3 bandit leaders. The third is this guy named Oak. He's up a couple zones from here. We'll take care of him momentarily, but there's another thing we have to do now in the Western Forest. So we're going to look for this spider lair and try and get that spike that our friends told us about back at the encampment. We do need that to, for the obvious reason, of poisoning a tree so that we can get inside of a cave, which is, if you haven't played an ARPG before, I'm kind of spelling out all the details. You might not need to know that stuff, but better safe than sorry. And a lot of times the spider area is over here, but you'll see a lot of spider webs on the trees. That's your indication you're in the right spot, and we're not seeing that yet, so it's a good chance it's actually on the opposite side of the map. So we guessed wrong, but no need to feel too bad about that. Okay, I see a entrance down there, so actually it might be over here. Get our Quicksilver motion here. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, so the spider cave is going to be over on this side, most likely, given that we didn't see it over on the other. And it's a bit annoying to fight guys here because they explode, or at least some of them, which can be dangerous. It's likely to kill you once or twice. All right. So last place that we'll check is the top left corner, if we don't see anything up here. It does look like it's going to be in the top left, no spider webs. So let's head over there. All right. Really nothing up. It's usually not going to be up that high. Let's look over here to the left. Yeah, I mean, the game's hard. It's not easy, right? between the puzzles and the build crafting and trying to balance stealth with tanking and everything else you got to think of. It will really challenge every facet of your gaming capacity. All right, so these are spider webs. We're finally in the right spot. The Weaver's Chambers. Okay, so we'll enter here. Now we're looking for a spider and a stick. So if we notice that, we're going to stop and try and pick those things up. The stick, not the spider. So we kill the spider and then get the stick, hopefully, if it doesn't glitch out. Right, so these spiders are, fairly easy. They bunch up. You can stop and kill some, gain some levels. All right. Okay, here's a strong box. I don't know if we've come across one yet, but I think this is the first that we've seen. And it's basically a treasure chest. You can see it's unidentified. You can use a Scroll of Wisdom on it, but if you do that, there's a chance that you'll delete the items inside the box. So you might say, okay, don't identify it, which, yes, that increases your odds of getting something good, but the downside is you don't know what modifiers are on this. So they could be some very dangerous things. You could get frozen. You could get smashed by some enemies. But we're just going to take our chances. And you see ignites when activated, casts Ice Nova. Right? Luckily, that wasn't too bad. We survived it. And nothing especially good dropped out of there. But that's okay. It was definitely worth the try. Now, I don't know the numbers. So, here's another one. Give it a try, and okay, we got frozen. So that's very dangerous. That immobilizes you, and then guys can hit you. So it's fairly common to die from opening a strong box, getting immediately frozen, and then the tough monsters that jump out just attack you. Yes, that is very dishonorable, but remember, you are dealing with creatures and enemies that have no concept of honor. So you have to be ready for that. And you have to decide yourself how important it is to be an honorable fighter. So whether or not you want to go with the backstab, I think it's permissible to relax some of the rules of honorable engagement because these guys did it first, right? They disengaged to begin with. So it's a matter of life or death. But I can certainly see an argument for trying to still fight the right way and maintain some level of pride in this wasteland. So I'm not going to judge anyone who doesn't use backstab techniques or the like. But it's up to you, of course. You have to decide what the right thing is for you, because the right thing is whatever you happen to think, right? That's right for you. So do that. Okay. All right, these guys are a little tanky. Sure, not hitting them too hard, but all right. The Weaver comes down for a second round for the second half of his or her health to be removed by our cleave. And we almost got it. All right, look at that. Malagaro's spike dropped. Pick up a war sword. And now we can head back to town. Hatchlings there. All right, we still got 8 portal scrolls. Decent number. Those are very rare, so we don't want to waste them, but we can afford to use one there. I'm going to identify some things and then sell the trash to Groost. No offense on him, but... okay, so 16 to 30 sword, not too good. I don't want that. A cleaver. Yeah, nothing especially good. Still holding out on that axe once we get that last level that we need. Okay, grab some more life in the passive tree. We go up here and talk to Silk. A very strange man, but he does give you this reward. So melee physical damage is a good support gem to take for our build. Talk to Helena. All right. So we now have 2 out of 3 pieces of a pyramid model. We have a spike and a baleful gem. So we're almost ready to continue deeper into Act 2. So let's do that. All right, so a few side quests I'm skipping here. We're going to finish the bandits. I can go back to Act 1 and pick up a skill point because I've opened the way for them to join us, which they said they're going to do, but never will. So let's do that now. Act 1, back to Lion Eye's Watch. It's pretty rare that you return to old zones, or previous acts, I should say. But this is one of the few times. So you can talk to Bestel. He's happy. He gives you a passive skill point. Yeah, Nessa doesn't know what to think of us. And Tarkley's pretty excited too. So, okay, another passive point. And here's a nice one. 4% increased attack speed, plus 20 strength. 26% increased physical damage. That'll be useful for us. Next, we're going to head over here and get some more melee damage. So, let's travel back to Act 2. We're going to go to the riverways where we previously unlocked the waypoint. Now we're going to head up this old road. Remember, we noted that earlier. This is the way that we want to go to find the last bandit leader, this guy named Oak. And whereas the other two were okay, right? I mean, they're flawed characters for sure, but they had some redeeming qualities. Oak is, he's just kind of a bad guy, sorry to say. So you really should just kill him, even if you could benefit from the stats that he would offer you by siding with him. You got to ask yourself, is it worth it, right? As a matter of principle, he deserves to die. So you kind of have to do it. I'm not going to tell anyone how to play. But if you leave him alive, that does reflect very poorly on your character, right? I mean, the choice is yours. I'm not judging, but it's something to keep in mind. All right, so let's take a look at what he offers us as an enticement. So he gives you some life regen, physical damage reduction, and global physical damage. These aren't very meaningful. So like I said, most people kill him, and it's also just the right thing to do. So even if this was like 500 points to base life or something like that, you kind of have to go for him. So we're going to kill. It's going to be possibly a bit tedious here because he has good physical damage reduction, so might take a while to get him down, but we have some decent survivability. So we should be able to make it through. He's about halfway done here. Trying to keep my mana up. That is something that I have not been good about, keeping an eye on that and hitting a flask at the right time. I've run out of mana at times. Later in the game, we'll just have good mana regen or recovery by some other means. So we won't have to use a flask anymore for that. And that'll increase our damage a lot because we'll be able to use those flask options on other things instead of mana. And we will be able to attack more consistently without running out of mana. Okay, so I'll take Oak's Amulet, a War Sword. I now have everything that I need from the Bandits. We're going to head back to Old Man Aramir in the forest encampment, and he's going to give us a special gift after we give him the pieces of those, the 3 pieces from the amulets of the bad guys that we've now killed. And he will somehow pull a book out from somewhere that gives us 2 passive skill points. And you might wonder if these NPCs simply have these books lying around, and their well-being kind of depends upon us, why they don't just donate some of those in advance, but for whatever reason they require you to prove yourself in various ways and are still fairly stingy with the points. Let's not complain about that. Okay, so obviously those roots were impenetrable by any means, whether saw or fire, so we needed to get a poison gem and a special stick to stab them, and now the way is open into those caves. So rumor has it it's an old temple, we'll see. Before doing that, head back to the forest encampment. Talk to Aramir. He's happy we killed those guys. He gives us the pieces put together. And I believe we got 2 passive skill points. Yep. So now we're finally going to do it. We're going to go here for some weapon damage and increase melee physical. Some more of that. And then this nice note here, 25% increased physical damage. Some strength, attack speed. Useful for us because that's the type of build we are using, one-handed. All right. So for our next point, we'll see, we might take something over here. We'll have to give it some thought. But okay, we're now in a position, first of all, to upgrade our flasks with some better options, but also to take a look at some of the things we found. So here's a leather belt. Yeah, not much on that. This war sword, 16 to 30 damage, that's 17 to 32 physical. Okay, so I'm going to try a little trick here. So if you go to, it's Yena, you can purchase a rustic sash from her. So that's what I'm going to do. And we do have a blacksmith's whetstone, which will be important. So, we're going to look in our stash. And I have a lot more currency in here because this is my standard stash, so it's from previous playthroughs. 5,000 chaos orbs, by the way. We are going to use just an orb of transmutation because I have been finding those and sticking them in here, so I'm not using something from a previous playthrough. And we are going to use it on the rustic sash. It doesn't matter what we get from that. Then we're going to go over to Groost or any vendor. And the plan is we are going to sell the sash, a blacksmith's whetstone, and the axe. That's a crafting recipe. It'll give us an axe that has 42% increased physical damage. And if we get lucky, some other stuff too. No, that's all it gave us. We can use an Orb of Augmentation to add a second modifier to a magic item. We're going to do that. Okay, accuracy, that's not useless at this stage. So you can see the damage on this is 30 to 54, whereas on this it's 17 to 32. So that's a huge increase. We are going to get rid of our old axe and some of these excess items. And that should do it. We're still on a 3-link, so I'm going to stick with Cleave, but I'm going to replace Chance to Bleed with melee physical damage. But I want to keep leveling that, so I'll keep it notched into something. Same thing with War Banner. And we're going to check with Yena. She does sell, like Nessa in the first zone, various skill gems. So see if there's anything that we want. Arctic armor can be useful while leveling. I'll take one. That gives you a little physical and cold protection, resistance. Let's see, anything else here? Okay, Warlord's Mark can be useful later on. We won't take it for now. Melee physical, we got that. Let's see here. All right, yeah, so there's nothing especially that we need at the moment. Blood Rage just gives you a little buff and gives you some, let's see, I think Life Leech. Am I right about that? So it's a buff that you have to reactivate. Gives you increased attack speed, some Life Leech, which means you recover some life from enemies that you attack. But you take 4% of your maximum life as damage per second. So that does add up. So you got to make sure you have enough regen to outlast that. Probably will. I'll put my Arctic armor up here for leveling purposes. All right, so we still have that essence that we can use on something. And in fact, let's pick up a piece of armor from Groost. Okay, yeah, he's a little mad. Yeah, so we want to go with an armor base. So here's one, it's magic. So we're always looking for 3 links and then eventually 4 links. Okay, yeah, there's not much here that we could really want. That's level 6, which is very low, so yeah, I might as well buy these iron scale boots. I'll put this essence on there, and that's pretty good actually. So we got some fire resistance, but 10% increased move speed, which is always welcome. Put our flesh and stone here. Destroy that because we don't need them anymore. Put some of our fragments over here. Okay, so we're ready to finally enter the Vol Temple, which is the next area of Act 2. We're getting close to the end of Act 2. We'll stop there. I hope you learned a lot. And again, if necessary, you might want to rewatch the video a few times, maybe take it at half speed. There's a lot of useful information we covered, a lot of secrets, and it's not easy to absorb it all on one go. So while you're waiting for the next video, that's something to do. I will work on a plan for next time, and I will see you guys then. Thank you.